Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talk. So we're going to look at all the latest news coming out of Manchester United, and there's plenty as always. We're going to look at the stories regarding Jamie Vardy and DominicCalvert-Lewin, which are unbelievable. That we're kind of bargain basement. We're shopping in the aisles in the reduced section area. That's where we are at the minute. There's some stories about United being interested in Sesko from RB Leipzig, and there's also stories about Delap. So we're looking at one end of the spectrum where players are either a crock or on their way out, or we're looking at young, very, very young players. And we already know that young players come into this team and find it very, very difficult to cope under the pressure of Manchester United. The one player that we were interested in was Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon, and obviously he wants Champions League football. So are we going to get him? We'll briefly look at that. We'll look at Rodrigo Mora from Porto and where we stand with that and his release clause, which is all quite interesting. And then a little bit on Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the dealings that he has to manage behind the scenes that we don't know about apparently. But yeah, we can have a damn good guess at what's actually going on. But we'll look at the top story and we'll go in with the Calvert-Lewin and Jamie Vardy one. And this is all down to Manchester United's financial position, there might be a temptation to look at the free agency market. Dominik Calvert-Lewin, who's 25, and Jamie Vardy, who's 27. They're both out of contract in the summer. Now, guys, please comments on this. What do we think? I mean, for me, I find this unbelievable. Jamie Vardy, excellent striker in his time, had his day. He's won trophies, he's done unbelievable things for himself, his career, and the legacy he's leaving behind him. Exactly, he's leaving it behind him because he's 38, he's on his way out. Do we need to bring in, when we had Ronaldo, we thought, and some players thought, okay, he can't press and he's maybe slightly on the older scale. But Jamie Vardy's sort of older and he's probably not in the same kind of physique situation where Ronaldo was. So where does that leave us? I have really no idea. As I said, Dominik Calvert-Lewin is going to be someone who potentially comes in, plays a couple of games, sits in the old treatment table. At this rate, we're going to have to build an extension of Carrington because we'll have Luke Shaw, we'll have Lindelof, we'll have who else is there? Mason Mount, Martinez. Do we need to bring in another player that's injury prone? Do we need to kind of go down this route? I'm severely hope that this is just a load of fluff and nothing else, because we don't need to bring in these types of players. We certainly need to be looking at someone more like Gyökeres. But on the Gyökeres one, which I'll just kind of veer onto now that we're talking about it, Manchester United are unlikely to get him due to us. He wants Champions League football, and I totally understand that. He's right in the kind of perfect age. He's in the prime of his career, just hitting 27. That's when he should be kind of optimizing his opportunities to win trophies and to play at the highest level when you're moving from Sporting. Now, joining Manchester United, with the reputation and maybe Rubin Amorim, I think that's all it's got going for it at the minute, because as a club we are faltering behind the scenes. We are floundering massively in the league, and we have no idea whether we're going to get Champions League, because the Europa League is our only way into it really, and that hangs in the balance at the minute, depending on what Rubin can get out of the rest of this team between now and the end of the season. So we may get Europa League football if we can kind of get a run going in the FA Cup, but again, lottery, we keep getting drawn Premier League clubs, so God knows who would get through if we even get past Fulham in the next round. So very, very difficult for us to kind of move forward from this situation. As much as he would be a great striker for us, is he going to come in and do a job? Unfortunately not, because we've not got the money. And we'll understand why we've not got the money a little bit later. Okay, so we'll look at other targets that United are looking at, and this is kind of the other end of the spectrum where United are looking at Sesko, because United continue to follow him, and Liam Delap is the other one that we are also kind of looking at the minute. And there's a third story about Mbeumo, who United are also interested in. But let's just look at Delap and Delap. We'll take a look at Delap and we'll take a look at Sesko at the minute. And I believe that Arsenal are hot on the trail of Sesko. He's a very, very good player. He's 22, but again, he's found it difficult this season in Germany. He kind of hasn't lived up to the highlights and what people thought he was going to do. off the back of last season. But we do know that Arsenal are interested in him, so it'll be interesting to see what comes from that. But young player coming into the Premier League may find it difficult, especially leading the line for Manchester United, as Højlund has found out himself, being quite young. And then you've obviously got Delap, who's even younger. He has Premier League experience. He has scored goals in the Premier League this season for an awful Ipswich team, an Ipswich team who played good football, but have just had a terrible season. So we know that he can do it, and I think of the two of them, I'd probably go for Delap, just because he's got that Premier League experience, and also because from what I've seen of him, he looks like an excellent player. So I think he could fit in and do quite well. As I said, I've seen a little bit of Sesko in the Euros, and he did all right. But and you can't really judge a player on that. I can only judge on what I've seen so far. But I'd probably go for Delap if that was a choice. But again, he's going to come at a cost, and he's also there's going to be a payout to Manchester City if we do get Delap. They've got a sell-on clause, so it'll be interesting to see whether we actually do anything there. Helping Manchester City out would be very, very annoying. But just on the Mbeumo, Laurie Whitwell had also talked about this, and United have scouted Mbeumo in recent times, and he's an excellent player, and I'd love him. If we could get him, he would be a brilliant buy. But I've just got a funny feeling that Brentford are going to keep him, and we're not going to get him, and or else he may go somewhere else. But I just don't think we're going to be in the position to bring him in. I also can imagine he's going to be in the 50+ million bracket, and we can't afford that because we've got no money. So that's where we are with that one. And we'll look at another wonder kid. And this is Manchester United, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain are all interested in Rodrigo Mora from Porto. And he is another 55 million in his release contract for a 17-year-old. So, once again, we are looking at the 50 million plus bracket. Again, where are we getting money from this? No idea. How are we gonna make this happen whenever we're up against some elite teams, and Arsenal, Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain? They've all looked at this kid and they all kind of reckon he's one for the future. But again, one for the future. I mean, how many future players do we need? We need some present players. Not everyone needs to be for the future, because these players have to come in and learn in a team that's functioning with players that know how to cope with the Premier League to help these kids through their induction. But if we don't have them, and they're all kind of coming in at one time or another, Jesus, it's going to be a nightmare. The young kid Leon, the Paraguayan's going to be coming in potentially. Haven's going to be coming through. Chidi Obi Martin, I spoke about yesterday. All these players are coming in, all kids, all really, really young, and all need developed. And then said before, people have talked about United haven't got time to develop kids, but yeah, that's all we're bringing in. Or we're looking at the other end of the spectrum with Jamie Vardy. So actually no idea. I hope they've got a plan, because as it seems to me, it just seems I don't really know what the plan is, and I don't really trust or believe anything that's coming out at the minute. And then there's the final story on Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and he understands that the decisions at Manchester United are very unpopular, but he feels that the lack of awareness outside the club regarding the full picture. This is coming from Jamie Jackson. So we obviously know that there's massive problems internally within the club. Staff are unhappy. Stories are being leaked. Sir Jim hasn't quite clamped down on everything yet. They're any us are in for 1 year, and they've obviously made mistakes, loads of mistakes that have cost us heavily. And we're suffering from this on the financial side of things from when it comes to bringing in players. So we're in a mess, and I don't think Sir Jim has helped this mess. I think he's actually put fuel to the fire, and he's helping, burn the whole thing down at the minute. So he needs to kind of find a way to put these flames out quickly, because we're in an absolute shit show. But yeah, so I just think that I'd looked at Ineos, a brief story that they release a lot of information to their shareholders with their other with the Ineos business. But we don't, as fans, hear that much from them. We don't hear much from our CEO's name eludes me, Barada. We're not hearing that much information at the minute. Now, obviously, they're putting out fires left, right, and centre and having to deal with a lot, but they're not putting much out for us, apart from the fact that we know that ticket prices are going to rise so they can make more money to inject it back into the team. Or is that to service the debt? Well, interesting to see which way that one goes. But that's Sir Jim needs to kind of release some more information so the fans can understand a little bit more why this shambles is continuing to just kind of snowball and grow. If the fans knew a little bit more, maybe they'd be a little more sympathetic. but I think at the minute we aren't, and we're up in arms, and God knows where it's going to lead us to. But okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Keith. If you liked the video, give us a wee subscribe, give us a like, and if you've got this far, you're a legend. Thank you so much, and yeah, I will see you on the next one.